Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Ears to the East. Where too late to do that. Too late to do
Oh,
that. You might notice there's a poster in the middle of the screen, which is for Download XXI or 21, the festival. This poster kind of kickstarted this whole conversation. But you might remember, I mentioned this poster in a video we did recently. I think it was the one we did about Babymetal fame, and I was talking about Babymetal being put on equal billing with Bowling for Soup, a fun group, but not one you think of as being like a huge cultural thing like Babymetal. And then today, Neon brought this up and said, "Hey, I want to talk about a few things here because you mentioned, what did you mention about this poster? Because you mentioned something that I hadn't noticed before."
yeah, I was going to say there's a few Japanese bands. Well, I say a few. There's three. But in context of like how many bands there's been in Download in the past, or just in festivals in Europe as in general, to have three Japanese bands at one festival, a main big festival, by the way, not just a shitty old festival, like one of the main headliner festivals in England. I thought that was just pretty cool, and it kind of like I kind of sat there, was like, I was
Oh
thinking,
shit! It's at Donington Park.
yeah,
I knew they did. So Download's the one at Donington Park.
yeah. Downloads the big metal kind of like rock festival. I was going to say metal, but then you just said Bowling for Soup, so I have to say rock.
Yeah, but I'd say I can see some of the names on here. Considering the name at the top of the page, right in the middle, is Fallout Boy. Do with that what you will, dear friends and viewers. There's only two things I know about Fallout Boy. One thing I know is the fact that they were responsible for that atrocious version of the Ghostbusters theme tune. There's so many covers of the Ghostbusters theme tune, some really good ones out there, and they got the license to do quite possibly the most unimaginably bad one. The other thing I know, and this one, I don't believe this is true, but I remember when I was much younger, I think this was actually when I was in school, just before I left school, there was a Fallout Boy, I think, had just become popular, and there was a rumor, lots of people went out that the lead singer, apparently there was a inappropriate picture of him somewhere on the new fledgling internet, and lots of comments about him having a small ding dong. And those
So
are the only
no,
two things I know. This is like a 20-year-old, like I'm sure made up slanderous thing about him having allegedly a small ding dong, and the fact that they did an appalling version of the Ghostbusters theme tune. That's all I know. And they are headlining, and they're above Babymetal, but still, yeah. So the two other Japanese bands, so Babymetal alongside Bowling for Soup, nothing against Bowling for Soup, but not exactly, revolutionary band. And then the other two bands, Crystal Lake and the beautiful Hanabie, they're right down there in the little bands at the bottom, isn't they? You squint and you can see
I
them.
know it's so hard to see them, but
But
just
you had a
just
positive twist.
yeah, but just the fact that they have three Japanese bands, like I'm really wondering how many people going to this festival will be like acutely aware. Maybe a few people will know Crystal Lake a little bit more than Hanabie, but just having Hanabie in there is, for me personally, I thought that's amazing.
I think it's hard for me to know how big a lot of these bands are in the West. And when we did that video about Babymetal recently, the whole thing we were talking about is how it had become clear that maybe my perception, having been in Japan now for like 8 years, my perception of how popular Babymetal were overseas, obviously they were massive when I left the UK, but my perception of how popular they were, probably I thought they were still bigger than they maybe perhaps are. I'd expect them to be in like the top two rows. But so it's hard for us to know. Hanabie, I know, have really been blowing up. I think they're one of the groups on the big upward curve. But at the same point, I guess I still wouldn't be surprised to see them in the bottom rung. Just for anyone who hasn't already worked out, that bottom rung of groups, they're all in alphabetical order, so that's why like that. But yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them there. No real handle on how popular Crystal Lake are, but I can imagine it sounds popular. One thing I wanted to check with you, because I think you've got a slightly better handle on this than I do. So we know there's like a lot of American and I'm kind of some British bands, I think, in there as well. Are there any other bands you can see here who are from non-English speaking countries? Because I got to be honest, I look at a lot of these bands and I recognize a few. I know Fear Factory, I couldn't name a single song. Other than that, it's like the Sum 41, Bowling for Soup, Offspring. Those are the kind of bands I know. Obviously, Queen is of the Stone Age. I know Machine Head as well. Most of the rest I don't
mean,
know.
like I said, there's definitely a few there that are for sure. Like the main page is pretty much littered with English slash American bands, apart with the exception of Babymetal. I mean, you were saying you would expect them to be higher, but the fact that they're crammed in with pretty much mainstayers, or shall we say, probably the bands more publicly known to a casual audience, I think says a lot, to be honest.
I mean, if someone said to me, "Oh, we're going to have a concert and there's going to be 3 bands there. One's called Bad Omens, one's called The Used, and one's called Biohazard," I'd be like, "Never heard of any of these bands." And I'm assuming it's some sort of really grungy high school emo rock concert where a bunch of people are going to come out, all age 15, floppy hair, and sing about how much they hate their dads. Then again, I've never heard of these bands.
To be fair, seeing Billy Talent, The Used, and Sum 41, The Offspring, and Queens of the Stone Age, and Fall Out Boy all in the same show, like I feel like I'm surrounded by 14-year-old girls in school again. It's that kind of vibe.
Hey, there's not many 14-year-old girls going for the nearly 50-year-old overweight Offspring who I do adore. There's nothing more creatively bankrupt than the Offspring, and yet I adore them. I love them. But I know they haven't written an original song in like 2 decades. I don't care. Their last album was great, even if all the songs sounded way out of date. It was great.
Well, yeah, but just the fact that there's 3 Japanese bands there, I find that extraordinary, especially considering you going back.
Do you see a presence of bands coming? Because obviously that's the thing, isn't it? What's surprising is that obviously they're Japanese, which means they're from a non-English speaking country. Do you see any bands? And I'm sure there's going to be ones that you and I don't know.
There's Slaughter to Prevail.
Where are they from?
Russia, I believe, or
really
something to stick about. Somebody will correct me.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will. But yeah, there's so many that I know aren't American, but I couldn't tell you where they're from, to be fair.
Some big brains are going to get into the comments. See if you can be a big brain completionist and tell us every single one.
Hoobastank there as well. Jesus Christ, what is this?
The reason is you. It's all right, chill out.
My God, I feel like we're surrounded by 14-year-old girls. There's so many here.
Do you want to hear something really disturbing?
Go on. You liked all these bands, didn't you?
No. Thanks to a friend of mine, I completely blanked this until like a couple of years ago, and it suddenly occurred to me. Thanks to a friend of mine, I was actually taken to see Hoobastank live once. It's actually happened. This happened. I have actually been at a concert where Hoobastank were the headliner. I think it was like we were talking about like bands you've seen that you wouldn't have expected to see, and it just suddenly came into my head. Oh shit! A friend once took me to see Hoobastank, like sort of, like 20 years ago. I was quite young at the time, but I remember like a friend of mine was like, I think I'd met them at another gig. I think I met them at an Offspring gig actually, and they were like, "Oh, you got to check out Hoobastank. They're not just that one song." And we were all like, and then the guy had some spare tickets, which was pretty sus. And then, I remember being like, I was like, okay, they were better than I expected from that one song, but they still weren't very good. It wasn't my thing. Wasn't my thing at all.
Probably the worst gig I probably ever bought tickets for was I went to go and see the Rasmus.
Oh my God, yeah, they're in the similar category of like emo bands,
yeah, and that they had the Defiled opening for them, which is like
who the fuck are they? I mean, with a name like that, I can pretty much work it out. But
they were the band I wanted to see. Believe it or not, one of my personal favorites.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, they
take that back.
Yeah, they've broken up now, but at the time I was really into them. They were like proper like grunge metal underground around the England scene and stuff. They were really well known. They had a few songs that didn't quite hit it off globally, but like in the UK they were pretty big. But just couldn't quite get that international fame, I think.
Can I ask you, like, in all seriousness though, like there's this name Corey Taylor. Is that the guy from Slipknot?
It is the guy from Slipknot, yeah.
I thought it was. It's just like I knew he's called Corey. I didn't know what, but like Corey.
As soon as you
That's
said
like the
Corey
most-
Taylor, then my heart, I was like, oh God, that's what you say.
Corey is the most unmetal name ever. So I go play metal. Who with Corey? Corey.
So I know. The guy single-handedly made Corey the most metal name ever.
No, it's never gonna happen. I don't even care if you're a Slipknot fan. He's called Corey. You can wear whatever mask you want. You're called Corey, dude. I'm sure you're immensely talented. I'm sure lots of people love you, but the name Corey is never going to be a metal name. And I'm not even metal. I'm not even a metal person, and I think the name Corey sounds soft as hell. I'm called Howard, and I think that your name is soft. I mean, my name pretty much exclusively is in the area of like crooners and accountants, and I think Corey sounds softer than my name. So yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see a solo Howard act with just you in a fucking tie and a white shirt.
Singing about tax returns being overdue.
Yeah.
U45 on a ukulele. Got to be
Backed up with the Dams girls doing the dancing in the background.
They are more metal than any of us could ever dream to be. No one called Corey would ever be metal enough to be a Dams. I'm going to get so much hate for this. No. I have heard. Apparently, I've heard he's like one of the. I don't know this. I know nothing about him. I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him on the street. But I've heard he's apparently like one of the nicest people in metal. He's kind of like he is to metal what Dave Grohl is to rock, from what I've heard. But I don't.
Corey's a really, really sound guy. Great as well. Like from music wise, like he's really ranged out a lot. Obviously, a lot of people like him for Slipknot, but this is. I don't know if you know his other band, Stone Sour.
Heard of them. I had no idea that he was in that band as well.
They're a little bit more less heavy, more rocky. But then his
sound grunge. They sound like a grunge band. It's a grunge name.
It was just those like it was like mixed in with those like 2000 era kind of like rock bands that all had really, really grungy names, like the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and all those other exactly, all those other bands around those times that just like had the most insane weird names. But the good old days, everything was so simple back then.
Do you think that Massive Fermenting Dregs don't get to play these shows just because their name would fill up the poster?
The name is massive. I know, right? Going back to like some of these bands, having Crystal Lake in there is really, really good. Having Hanabie, I think is the big shock.
Really, I'm not shocked by them. I'm not shocked by them at all. Actually, I think they're pure festival fuel. That's the sort of thing you put a festival to make a festival.
All right, okay. I'll rephrase that then. I'm more surprised to see Hanabie there ahead of the likes of I don't know, like Love Bites, or maybe Unlucky Morpheus. Why Unlucky Morpheus never tour in Europe? I have no fucking clue.
That is bizarre.
That is beyond stupid. But that's the shock for me. Like, if there's a couple of more bands that I think would be more popular. Again, the band that shall not be named is another one. That I would put in there probably above Hanabie. Love
Bites is a good choice.
Yeah, Love Bites is a perfect festival thing with the guitars and the dual solos and stuff that would be absolutely amazing.
Do they do these kind of? Because again, I don't follow tour schedules usually, and obviously touring schedules is
bands will be on their own tours and stuff. Yeah,
but do Love Bites usually do these big European festivals? Is that a thing for them?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Get in the comments, people.
Let us know. I haven't seen Love Bites since 2019, since I discovered them. Like I told you the story behind that, haven't I? Like I literally got introduced to this band, Love Bites, and it's the first song I put on. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Instantly in love. Instantly in love with this band. I want to go and see them. Like it was love at the first sight, sound, and emotional fucking of those guitars. And I literally Googled that night, when are these girls live? I want to see if they do. And they actually were in Manchester the week before I discovered them, and they've never been back since.
Well, I mean, it was Manchester. Oh shit, I'm out.
I don't blame them for that. But yeah, like we're coming into 2024 now, and they haven't been here since 2019, and just that alone is a fucking travesty.
But then again, I mean, like Bandmate, like they haven't. I think they still haven't even announced anything in Europe post COVID. So I mean, I think a lot of bands who were here pre COVID, like 2019. Well, I say here, I'm not there. In like Europe 2019, they some of them haven't been back yet since. But it's not been. It's only really been a year since a lot of bands have felt comfortable to really start touring outside of. In the European countries or post.
I'm just seeing a lot more of it. Like I said, we touched on Janika as well in the previous video that we recorded. And they're coming there. They're on their first European tour in 2024 as well. So I'm seeing a lot more activity, which gives me hope for the future for like the Japanese metal scene. Because they're getting a lot more bands overseas and stuff like that now, which is amazing. Talking about punk, we were talking about punk before we started this, and I was flexing that I was in the 18 Fevers music video, but they're coming back, I think, along with
without knowing
to the Rebellion Festival again next year, because they were so well received. I believe at the Rebellion Festival they were the two most best reviewed bands at that entire festival, and they both want to come back again next year.
Are 18 Fevers Korean as well? Because I know
yes,
Korean.
Yes, they are.
They're both Korean.
Both Korean. Although 18 Fevers a little bit Canadian as well. So
I was kind of intrigued when looking at this list though, because obviously they've got Crystal Lake in there. Now the only thing I really know Crystal Lake from is like one of the very first songs that me and James actually did a reaction review to on my channel when it started out before I had to restart it, was to Crystal Lake doing a cover of Rollin' by Limp Bizkit. And considering Limp Bizkit always turn up at these little festivals, I think they've done download like a zillion billion times. I was kind of hoping that Limp Bizkit would also be at this because it would be really funny to have Hoobastank. Hoobastank, no.
Hoobastank on the mind.
Oh my God, I want to see Hoobastank do Rolling. That would be hilarious. Keep rolling. But to see where are they? Crystal Lake and Limp Bizkit both doing that song at the same show would be fucking hilarious. But
I'm kind of gutted not to see Bring Me the Horizon actually in the lineup this year, because I think with them, with Babymetal, to get a live English version of fucking
Kingslayer.
Kingslayer, thank you. My brain sometimes. Yeah, to see
another my Babymetal expertise.
Clearly. To get another live version of Kingslayer in UK would have been absolutely fucking amazing.
Well, I'm kind of intrigued because, like, yeah, I mean, well, at least it's not Little Uzi Vert. I'm kind of intrigued though, because like, I would love to see Babymetal and Hanabie alongside each other closer to billing, because I think I've said this before and I stick by this. Hanabie, I think, are still at that phase where I wouldn't be. I think they could headline a show easily, but due to the amount of awareness people have on them, they're still collecting fans. I wouldn't be surprised if they turned up as an opening act. I would love to see Hanabie as the opening act for Babymetal, because for me, those two bands, I can't imagine two bands who are more different and yet at the same time are such peas in a pod. They just, for me, they deliver on exactly the same thing in totally different ways. Yeah, okay, they're both Japanese, they're both metal-centric bands, but they both fuse that sense of pop fun with metal. They both go absolutely crazy, but in like, but they just, for me, are so perfect. So for me, this concert would be worth it if Babymetal and Hanabie are going to be like, sorry, just as I was saying that, I noticed the band above Hanabie are called Dying Fetus. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, never heard of them. What the fuck? Like, seriously, really? You know this band? It's like, why would you? That's another thing about naming bands. Why would you stake your entire career on the concept of a dying fetus? It's like, dude. Anyway, but like, so Hanabie, like, if Hanabie are before or even near to Babymetal on the playlist, it's like it's worth going for that. In the same way that if you had like Sum 41 and The Offspring playing one after each other, I would be like, yeah, that sounds really good. Like, they actually toured together. I'd be like, that sounds really good, because it's like a little bit, two very different versions of the same thing. Yeah, Babymetal next to Hanabie, that would be fucking epic.
I'm sure we'll get some great shots. I'm sure they hopefully we'll see some great shots of the girls kind of like crossing paths as well.
I hope so.
That would
How
be
cool.
that would be some nice photos, I think, from that. And I think this will be the gig Hanabie really kind of need as well. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think for me and you, there's nothing to be surprised about because we know what they're all about. But I think for like the casual goers that are that are going to go for their Slaughter to Prevail or their Pantera or stuff like that, that maybe aren't looking at Hanabie at all, or even aware of their existence. I think they're going to turn a few heads with their performance here, and I think they'll get a good reception and a lot of attention.
Well, I think this is why I say they're like such great festival fuel, is because, and this is again why I think they got something in common with Babymetal. In the same way that Babymetal, you might say, oh, normal metal fans wouldn't go for that, but obviously they burst out and really turned heads. I think Hanabia, like you had a lot of bands like Lady Baby who kind of like were on with the original version of Lady Baby was kind of on the bandwagon of following Babymetal's footsteps. Hanabia, it's like they achieved the same thing in such a different way that it feels fresh again. So in the same way that when Babymetal first turned up on the scene, they turned heads. I think Hanabia have got exactly that quality. So I can just imagine that when they do like this is the kind of thing. Like the fans at this show, this seems to be very metal, punk, rock centric with a few exceptions. It seems to be like it's like rocking out kind of music. Yeah, so they are definitely the odd one out, but I think people just like them because they're funny. But then again, that's the thing. I think the same reason why Bowling for Soup are on this list is because they're just likably funny. That's going to play for Hanabia, but it's going to play even better for Hanabia because Hanabia are also metal at the same and bit punk at the same time as being funny. I just think that they are going to be playing to the right audience, and I really hope they're on at a good time when lots of people are near the stage. I don't know how download works, but if they've got, I hope they're on a good stage. Just hope there's somewhere where lots of people can see them and playing for long enough that people pass through and have a chance to hear them and get drawn to them. Because I just think this is the sort of thing. Hanabia just exposure, because people, you're gonna love them. How can you not love them? I mean, as we've even done a video about, they're not my usual sort of cup of tea, and yeah, I love them. They're just like you just can't not love Hanabia. Yeah. It's such a heartwarmingly fun way of doing metal.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we're not looking at as well is if you look right down at the bottom, it says more to be announced. Now, how cool would it be? Like I said, we were talking about Love Bites.
Well, actually, right down at the bottom, it also says urine, but that's a.
That is true.
That's what I
mean. Along with those damn crows. Oh
God.
Some great days. But how cool would it be to have like a bandmate or a Love Bites or some more Japanese representation be announced?
I'd be all for that. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, obviously, I'm sure various people will know about the bands who they particularly follow, but I don't know which bands are available at the time. I would love to see just fucking Bandmate just suddenly sign up for this and show up, but I'm guessing they're going to be busy. I don't think that's going to work. I actually, when is this? This is June of next year. Okay, so yeah, I mean, fuck it, band. This is actually much further away than I thought it was, but I thought this was going to be something at the end of this year. But again, my familiarity with download festivals is very low. In fact, you talk about Donington Park, I mostly think of the racing track. So yeah. Brilliant racing track. But the thing is that like, yeah, so I mean, I'd love it if, I mean, fuck it. Can you imagine Hanabia, Babymetal, and Bandmate at the same show?
If that was to happen, I'd probably end up going. Like, I would have to book like tickets or find a way for that. And like, if Love Bites or something announced here, then I'd have to go because I can check out Hanabia. Yeah,
you'd buy the ticket. And then it would be on 3 different stages at the same time and you'd be forced to choose. That's what would happen. That's what fucking festivals do. That's what they do. They put the artists that one person would like, they always put them on at the same time. They're never after each other. They always make you choose. But admittedly, yeah, I think if you had Hanabie, Babymetal, and Bandmate would definitely be the one that's different. I think Hanabie and Babymetal.
I think this is probably but I would usually say
be great.
I would usually say when it comes to download, the Bandmate probably wouldn't be a great fit. I feel like because it's a little bit more metal and a little bit more heavy focused. But this year, just looking at some of the bands, just looking at Bowling for Soup, Sum 41, Billy Talent,
Sum 41,
Boy.
a bit more metal. Of like the last couple of albums they did were pretty heavy. I think they could definitely sit with the metal crowd, even if it's not the screamo stuff. They are in that direction. But then again, yeah, Fall Out Boy are at the top. Let's not mince this. Like Fall Out Boy are at the top of this metal festival, and The Offspring, as much as I love them, is not much in the way of metal going on there. They are punk, occasionally veering into a poppy territory. They do go heavy, but it's not really.
I mean, personally, for me, the main draw from like the main acts are Machine Head, Babymetal, obviously, and I Pantera as well. Obviously, this is the first appearance, first UK appearance in 20 years.
You're reading that straight off the poster, dude. Me too.
So that would be interesting for me. I'd love to come and see them for that. And then obviously the bands at the bottom, you've got like Atreyu and Hanabie, Fetus. You know, there's some really good ones.
Can I just check that the group Speed, they are not referring to the late 90s Japanese idol group Speed? I'm assuming that's.
I don't know, but I feel the need for speed.
The late 90s idol group. Yeah, I kind of get your point in this one. I think it's an intriguing sort of show. I think if I was there, and I guess no one's going to be surprised, I think most of the artists I would be going for would be considered the most out of place ones. Like definitely Offspring. Again, I can take it on the chin. I know what they are, and I love it anyway. Sum 41, ironically, more to listen to their less heavy songs. Bowling for Soup, just because for Bowling for Soup always makes you smile. It's fun music.
You know what would be cool?
But then Hanabie and Babymetal, the heaviest bands I would listen to at the whole thing would be the Japanese ones.
We need to get like this channel monetized. We need to get as a gazillion subscribers before freaking June of next year. And then we need to fly Howard over so we can hang out at Donington Park for like 2 days and just have him in his bandmate hat watching some bands.
I'm there for that. I'll bring my Offspring shirt with me as well.
I'll take him for a Greg's, and then by that time he's had enough of the UK and he can piss back up back to Japan.
Oh man. I mean, it's so funny because like Donington Park, it's like it's two of the things I love. It's got a motor racing circuit and a music festival. However, the music festival is mainly featuring the sorts of bands I wouldn't normally listen to, and the racing track is almost certainly going to be inactive during a festival. So it's going to be like it would be very mixed feelings if I attended this. It's at Donington Park. Is it actually hosted in like the infield of the track? I guess it can't be. It's got to be somewhere near the track. It's not within the track.
Yeah, it's pretty near, but not in the track. No.
Have you ever been to this festival yourself, or is it?
Yes,
sort of like
it's been a few years now. I went back in 2017 and 2015. I think it was. It could have been 14. I think it was 2015, and my last one was 2017. It's been a while. Oh no, 2010 as well.
Wow. I do like the fact that it's called Download XXI, so 21. I mean, I was going to say it started 21 years ago, but I don't know if it stopped because of like COVID. So I don't know if it actually is 21 years it's been going.
I got the shirt somewhere still. I may be completely wrong with those dates as well, by the way, with the years. But yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't. No, 2017 is a lie actually, because I'm thinking back. I haven't been since my daughter was born, which is my oldest, and she was born in 2013. So I tell a lot.
Remember your oldest daughter.
Yeah. So yeah, no, 2010. So I am getting my dates wrong here. 2010, 2007, and I think the first one was 2000. I want to say 2005, but I'm not too sure. I've been 3 times. I know that much.
I like the fact that there will be. So you went in 2005. I like the fact there will be people at this download festival who were born in the first year that you went to it.
Yeah, I know. Crazy now, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, have you been to many festivals? I went to Rock and Ring as well. I've been to Rock and Ring. I went to another one, but I can't remember the fucking name of it.
Sounds like a DJ Khaled show.
Um,
But
I've been to a few.
I I went to the Reading Festival. I don't even know. I don't think that's still a thing, is it? Or they changed the name, but I went to the Reading Festival because back in the day, the Reading Festival was the main one. Yeah, it was like, oh, you go Reading. Then it became Reading and Leeds, and then like apparently it like switched over.
Glastonbury
And then, like,
now or
Download
something like
Festival
that.
was big.
Yeah, like
Well, Glastonbury has always been its own separate thing, but like Glastonbury, like obviously a huge deal of its own, and that's kept going. I think Glastonbury, I believe, is still on paper is the biggest festival in the UK. I think it kind of has been for a while, but yeah, the Reading used to be the one that, like, when I was in school, Reading was the one that everyone wanted to go to, and so yeah, I went to that, and it was pretty much what you'd expect. A lot of people with weed. Of course illegal in the UK. Some bands you like, some bands that are crap. Everyone just basically being a dick, muddy, unpleasant, fun when you're a teenager. But and people think when you say fun when you're a teenager, it's not because, oh, I'm too old, I haven't got the energy. It's just because you're old enough to realize, actually, you know what, most of these festivals are not actually fun. They're just something you do because there's a lot of names involved and you can check a lot of stuff off the list. You know, a lot of the ways that people are having fun tend to be stuff that's like, yeah. And there were a lot of teenagers there who I'm pretty sure were accidentally giving birth to the next generation earlier than expected. It was a cesspool of teenage bad behavior, and yeah,
that's why Howard was there. He loves it.
Oh man, I was such a nerd as a kid. There was no way that was going to happen to me. Oh, I was a happy nerd though. No, I wasn't.
I mean, we're looking at this through a purely UK perspective as well. I'm sure there's other festivals from other countries. Let us know in the comments down below if there's any Japanese acts or anything covering you. I know that Bandmate have been in festivals in the US a hell of a lot recently as well.
Yeah, they've just been like hitting the US really hard, getting that US bank.
So yeah, there's going to be more places, more festivals, possibly some we don't know of. So if there's any local to you when you're watching these videos, let me know in the comments down below. Like,
what the fuck is with some of these band names, dude? It's like, seriously, I mean, we started with Dying Fetus, but what the fuck is some of this? Slaughter to Prevail, like Knife Bride. It's like, why are these names? Defect, I guess that sounds a bit punk. That's kind of what you expect, is it? But some of these names are so, I mean, we mentioned urine. Some of these names are so depressing. This doesn't sound like a fun place to be.
like we're going to start a group and we're going to call ourselves, I don't know, Embodied Manslaughter or something stupid like that.
All right, so what band would you see just off the basis of the name who you've never heard? Pest Control. Who the fuck is calling a band Pest Control? You can get lots of numbers on your like 0800 number. Which of these bands do you not know, but you think that name, I would go watch that just because of the name?
I'd be probably Death by Rumi.
Is there an alphabetical order? So, oh yeah, Oh yeah, it's all one word. Death by Romy. If it was Death by Roomba, that's a brilliant name. You should call a band Death by Roomba. That sounds incredible. Oh man, why is there not a band called Death by Roomba? That's an amazing name for a band.
Yeah, that one catches my eye. But yeah, anyway. Right, you've heard us waffle enough. Make sure to comment down below.
Oh shit, I didn't realize we're out of time nearly. Thanks.
We are almost out of time. Comment down below, let us know the festivals and stuff that you've been checking out and stuff like that. Don't forget to like, comment on the video, and if you do enjoy the content as well, don't forget to subscribe as well. I would really appreciate it. We don't say it enough in our videos, so I have to every once in a while remind people that you know the channel needs to grow. And if you're still here watching me waffle now, then you obviously liked it, so fucking stick around.
If you're here watching this and you don't subscribe and you don't press like, basically you're just hate watching.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with that. I can deal with that. Comment below if you're hate watching, saying I hate watch your channel for this reason. Tell us why you hate watching.
All right, okay, fuck this shit. I'm out. All right, guys, wherever you are, take care. We love you, and don't forget to keep your ears to East.
Stop it.